Thank you for joining us today on Coastal and Progressive Rainbow Forum on Society Bites Radio. Today we are speaking with Keisha Bell. We're welcoming her back from our segment number 2, and the highlights we're going to be highlighting today, her campaign for District 70, is climate change and some of the issues that we are facing in District 70, and also anti-discrimination issues, among probably some other ones too. Okay, and thank you so much. And Keisha, are you there?
I am here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's go ahead and start up with these other issues. Okay, and we will go ahead. Okay.
Great.
Let's talk about some of your ideas on climate change. Okay.
Okay. I'll start. Climate change is an issue that I found myself in a lot of discussions, particularly when I entered into Manatee and Sarasota counties. As you know, this past, not the current session, but the session before this one, there was votes on toll roads, and of course we're dealing with red tide issues, and we got animal extinction issues and air pollution and water pollution. It's just, and we're so close to the beaches. So I found myself in a number of discussions as it relates to the environment and climate change away from away from Pinellas County. As you know, Pinellas County actually has over 50% of the vote for District 70, and I found that to be very troubling. Now I can honestly say that I am having more conversations within 70, not to the same level as I have had previously over in Manatee or Sarasota or even Hillsborough, but I am having more. I just want to help to educate people on the issues as it relates to the environment, to kind of like bring 70 to the level of ease in talking about these things. At the same time, it's important for me to definitely partner with those who are experts in environmental issues so that I can be a strong representative in Tallahassee for these things that's near and dear to me. I truly believe that if we do not get the environment handled, if we do not correct course, some of the I call frivolous bills, not just in Tallahassee, but also at a national level, that I feel is jeopardizing us as human beings. If we don't get that corrected, then we're not going to be here. So all of these other issues that are problematic, if we're not here, it's all for naught. So what I envision 70 to do is to have a very strong advocate, someone who's very passionate about the environment. And gosh, the number of issues, it's so wide and varied that, you know, it's not going to be hard to spot like different things that can be promoted or can be advocated for in Tallahassee. I think that one of the things that I bring, though, is I've begun strong networking, I've begun to develop strong networks with people who are definitely experts in those areas. And what I'm planning on doing is, relying on their expertise so that then I could purport something that, with the help of those other Democrats up in Tallahassee, and hopefully some Republicans as well, so that we can go ahead and begin to change the face on the direction that we're going as it relates to the environment.
And I wanted to insert here a little bit about, on the climate change issue, one of the areas that I'm certain we want to talk a little bit about here today is, and you said you're going to be relying on some experts here too, is, and as you remember, red tide has been a big issue in Manatee and Sarasota, and I think in Pinellas as well, up there too, because it has been a serious health issue for us. There's all kinds of things. Now there's other recent studies coming up showing that the red tide may have some long-term health effects on people, especially the elderly people, and for everybody. And we have, the toxic runoff we have from some of the chemicals that have been used. It's unbelievable. And so, Can you give? Do you have any insight you can give us at this point on some people that you maybe been consulting with, or people that you plan to work with in the future? Here, I'm sorry, that you will be working with and hope to do. Yeah.
Right. I'm looking to hopefully grow strong connections with those in like Sierra clubs, different environmentalists. You know, we have here a number of colleges within District 70 with departments that are geared towards the environment. So there are some professors and different people in that from an academic standpoint that I've begun discussions with, and they are very excited to really have someone, you know, the more support that we can rally on this effort, I think the stronger it will be, because it will be a collective movement. And then there are other elected officials as well who are, you know, who feel that these are very strong and serious, important issues that need to be addressed. So I think that, you know, I can align myself with what's already there and working towards this thing. But I think particularly for 70, it's been my experience that I don't think our voice has been loud enough about the environment. This is a very serious issue, and we're right here. I mean, the counties, we're right on the beaches, are like within walking distance to a lot of us. And these are things that we have to address. As you pointed out, the red tide, I have seen some of those studies about how the long-term effects, you know, healthcare effects, which goes back to the healthcare issue. But I don't, you know, as we all age, I think we're going to see some more studies about how this affects like the younger generation as well. So if we don't address it now, you're now looking at a whole working body of people who have side effects from these health concerns that's related to the environment that we could right now put it into, at least have strong voices to move in the direction of putting it into. The corporation buildup, you know, the tax deductions for the corporate and I don't feel like policies are strong enough as far as different things as to how they affect the environment. And I think that we definitely need to some kind of way get on the same page with corporations and other entities that have negative effects on our environment. The environment is something that we have to make that a number one issue, because without an environment, again, then all of this other stuff that we're talking about, it's for naught.
Yes, and I'll bring up another example here for you. If I use the word Roundup, do you know what that is? And as far as chemical,
only because you asked me that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Roundup. I'm sure you may be aware that there's a few years ago they were trying, the chemical industry and the manufacturers were trying to say, oh, it's perfectly harmless. Don't worry about it. We can spray it everywhere. And we already people, and because of connections I have through my family and things, we already were questioning that. And now, of course, look at the lawsuits everywhere, class action suits and stuff being filed. And people do not understand how serious this is, and the damage is done into our estuaries and into the runoff and stuff that's happened here. And it's a bad situation. So, do you have any thoughts on that? And on Roundup, and well, this is taking that as one example. That's one chemical example.
I was going to say, I was just going to say that's just one example. I was just not too long ago here, there was a speaker talking about that. As she made a footnote actually of Roundup, but she was talking about some other cleaning agents and different things like that and how that affects our bodies. She particularly related it to, I think she discovered some issues because she was pregnant at the time, and so it went into, you know, the unborn baby, you know, different things like that. But these are things that I don't think most people are conscious about, and a part of that goes back to the education piece, I think. It's that people are not being educated, and so then they're not knowing. But no, we definitely need to have policy like that's proposed. And I understand the numbers that's in Tallahassee. I understand the beast that awaits. But we have to have people that's courageous enough to make these proposals. And this is what I'm offering 70. Somebody who is serious about these issues, and not afraid to advocate to get the results that we need.
And that's what we need. We need someone like to represent the District 70, even though, like you say, you might be in a minority there. But if keep raising the question and getting other people educated, we might be able to change people's minds and educate them to a point where they realize that this is not just endangering Democrats; it's endangering everybody.
Right. Everybody. Exactly.
Exactly. And that's what we have to get across, I guess, to get them to realize, to wake up, And just because the chemical industry, I know the chemical industry. I look back at some of those ads they used to put on television, and look at them today, and with our knowledge we have, and we wonder why didn't we know this stuff sooner? And it goes on case after case about this. Well, secondhand tobacco smoke.
Well, I asked that. I asked that same question as well. I mean, because there have been like major movies about different things, like waters in different places. Of course, we all know about the Flint situation and different things like that. And so there have been some efforts, but again, I do think that the education piece is kind of like the crux of it, because once we get people to step outside of, in this situation, when we talk about the environment, it is not a Republican and a Democratic thing. This is a human rights thing. Like, we are all human, and we all deserve quality air, quality water. We deserve to trust the foods that we eat and the things that we bring into our homes. We can look at animals and see like different deformities and different things that's happening with panthers and different things like that. I mean, those are signals to us. We have to pay attention, and we have to get leaders who are bold enough to say, look at this and draw the linkage so that we can bring other people on, mobilize them, and collectively, outside of party lines, demand more for ourselves.
Exactly. And that's what it takes. And you have the key there. You just mentioned education. If people really would open their minds and read the facts, and not think of this as some kind of a conspiracy or something. It's reality. We have to face reality.
It's reality. Yes, it's
That's what
reality.
we have to face there.
Yes.
Do we want to move over and talk about some of your efforts that you want to make on anti-discrimination? And that's,
yes,
there's plenty of work to do there too.
It's plenty. I know. As you mentioned it, as I think about it, it's a lot of work there. And I mean, it's just not enough. I'm so excited to have the opportunity. Hopefully this time we'll make it. I'm claiming it. I'm believing it. I'm stronger than 2018. So, I'm going forth with belief. But we have tremendous amount of work to do in the area of anti-discrimination. You name the oppressed group, there's work to be done. And one of the reasons I went to law school was because, civil rights was an issue that kind of got my attention at a very early age. And it was one of the reasons why I went to law school. Didn't know at that time that I would be in a situation of running for public office. But in hindsight, I can tell different life experiences have prepared me to go forth. It's an area that I am totally invested in trying to find justice for, like, all people, not just the wealthy, not for the elite, select few that can pay for, different things. But we have to address these injustices that happen to oppressed communities, no matter what they are. In 70, it's not a one group over the other. I mean, there are so many oppressed groups within 70 that feel like they have no voice, they have no leadership to address their causes, that have no platform that's loud enough to stand on. And I really am someone who's dedicated to being available to hear, to try to help bridge some gaps, to try to fight for what's right, and to not be like a microcosm of what's going on in Washington, D.C. We have clear injustices that's happening, clear people who are being discriminated against. People are not hiding things like that anymore. And so what I believe 70 needs is somebody, and I think that there's a great opportunity in 70 because it is so heavily Democratic, that there are some things that can be addressed in ways that maybe other state representatives or state senators or whatever might be a little bit hesitant on because of how their numbers look.